Hello, everybody. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films. And that was a bunch of city mass transit trains. I think it started in Chicago, but made its way in different parts of the country, and I think even Toronto. Yeah, we're watching some films. It's nice outside, but I just took a shower, so I might wait for my hair to dry a little bit before I go outside. Or I might not go outside at all. Who knows? I just had a brain fart. Oh, yeah. I was reading the comments that Moreland has got a new keyboard because it has a bunch of crumbs in his keyboard. That is something I'm dealing with right now, using cleaning putty. With the laptop that I'm using, there's a bunch of crumbs. I'm a big slob. So, yeah, the keys aren't sticking yet, but it's getting bad. All right, let's learn about how great Niagara Falls is. Enjoy.
Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. One of the most famous natural spectacles in the world. For over 100 years, visitors have been drawn here to experience the sights and sounds of this torrent as it plunges almost 200 feet. The Niagara region has a history as turbulent as its falls. This is Fort Erie, just as it looked at the troubled beginning of the 19th century. Then British forces kept careful watch on their American neighbors, a watch that often erupted into skirmishes and sometimes warfare. Today, however, the only invaders at Fort George are welcome tourists enjoying this quiet, pleasant part of Canada. Niagara-on-the-Lake is a small community just 8 miles from the falls that has kept a great deal of its 19th century charm. In the early spring, the town and the entire Niagara region burst into bloom. And there are many more things to see here, including the Shaw Festival Theatre, where works of the great English playwright are performed. While the Canadian Mime Theatre offers drama of a different kind. The Niagara Parkway is a fast, scenic route that runs the length of the Niagara region. In summer and fall, it's lined with stalls offering excellent locally grown fruit and other produce. Every turn here brings the visitor face to face with history. This is the Brock Monument, marking the spot where the great British general Isaac Brock died in the War of 1812. But Niagara's parks are far from being shrines to the past. They're full of life for today's generations. Now the Niagara Parkway is bringing us closer to the great falls themselves. But there are still many other attractions to see. This huge floral clock is one of the largest in the world. But always it's to the water that the visitor returns. And here the means of looking at it are endless. Take the Spanish Aero car, if you dare, slung on its slender 1,800 feet of cables over the constantly spiraling currents of the great whirlpool in the Niagara Gorge below. The gorge is a watery free-for-all where the flood from the falls roller coasts along in huge waves. Elevators carry visitors 150 feet down through solid rock to waterside boardwalks and platforms for a safe, close-up view. Closer than this means dressing up in special protective clothes, and that's just what many visitors do for perhaps the most impressive view of the falls, from directly below the lip of the cataract itself. You can sail to the very foot of the Horseshoe Falls, buffeted by waves and clouds of spray on the most recent of generations of boats that have been called, fittingly, the Maid of the Mist.
We are now approaching the Canadian or Horseshoe Falls. The falls is 176 feet high with a contour line of 2,100 feet.
When you sail on the Maid of the Mist, you travel with the romance of tradition. But if a more up-to-date means of transportation appeals to you, then you can find that here too. And from a helicopter, you'll enjoy a view of the falls that till recently was strictly for the birds. Away from the falls, the pace is tranquil. You could be in another place or another time. For recreation, the Niagara region offers a huge variety of possibilities, and many visitors relax with sightseeing excursions available throughout the area. There's lots to see here at any time of year, and to photograph, whether you're a professional or just a weekend camera buff. Niagara is a place to be informal when you want, or you can choose from a wide range of restaurants, and there are many places to stay, catering to all tastes and budgets. Niagara is certainly a place to get married. It deserves its title of honeymoon capital of North America. are several golf courses open to the public on an inexpensive pay-as-you-play basis. Of entertainment, try Niagara Falls Marineland, where you'll find attractions ranging from a first-rate traditional circus to a large collection of animals and a top-flight water show. But there's no doubt who the big star is. That's Can-Do, the 2-ton killer whale, who with his porpoise sidekicks has clearly learned that making fun is what keeps the fans happy. The Niagara Peninsula is one of Canada's major grape and wine-producing areas. Here, fine Canadian wines are produced to satisfy the discerning palate. After dark, another Niagara Falls emerges that has its own fans. Even if he didn't have his honeymoon here, Frankenstein's creature is a regular with other friends in wax museums and exhibitions. Niagara has always attracted daredevils ready to challenge the falls in one way or another at whatever cost. Today, however, it's much easier to become a legend, providing your friends don't examine the evidence too closely.
The field is now in motion, and there they go.
If it's a change of pace you're looking for, Niagara has that too, at Garden City Raceway, not far from the falls. The Niagara region has many attractions, but the biggest of them all remains the falls themselves, as visitors from all over the world agree. The falls never lose their fascination, whether you see them from one of the observation towers, from the Maid of the Mist, from the brink of the falls, or from below. Always changing, always spectacular, Niagara Falls remains one of the unchallenged natural wonders of the world.
Thank you, Ray Crost, for that exciting promotional film for Niagara, the Canadian side. I went when I was doing a show in Rochester. We did a day trip to Niagara Falls, and it was in early February, and it was incredibly cold. And there was this amazing column of ice that was coming off the falls. And the New York side of Niagara Falls was really incredibly depressing. And so we walked across the bridge and hung out on Canadian side, got some donuts. We were surprised by the number of haunted houses that they had, commercial haunted houses that you could go to. and other kind of cool tourist trap type of things like wax museums and things like that. Much cooler on the Canadian side. All right, what do we got? Let's learn about John Wesley and his times. This came from that same bunch of films that I got from the Methodist, North Carolina Methodist Library. Enjoy.
John Wesley was 6 years old. His home was a small town in England. His father was a clergyman of the Church of England. In the Epworth Rectory, Susanna Wesley was mother and teacher. Every moment had its duty, every child his assigned task. For in this home, town ruffians had mutilated his cattle and burned his barn. And then, one night, they set fire.
Part not far from the kingdom of God.
On the evening of May 24th, 1738, John Wesley came to a meeting of a religious society and assurance began to break through. He said he felt his heart strangely warmed, and he began to understand the true meaning of the personal faith he had been seeking. For John Wesley, that moment was the beginning of a new ministry. John Wesley's preaching now rang with the central theme of his experience in the meeting at Aldersgate. But it was a message much too enthusiastic to suit the tired ways of the established church, and he was not allowed to preach in its pulpits. So printing became an essential form of communication. Should the gospel be preached outside the buildings of the established church? But he was shocked.
Not proof enough for you? He stands in your midst.
Wesley preached wherever people would listen. His compelling message affirmed the worth and dignity of all persons. The brand plucked from the burning became, in one poet's words, the very soul that over England flamed.
Of your return to a dreary, cold lodging. Of the look in the eyes of your little ones when there is not bread enough to satisfy their hunger.
Wesley followed up his preaching ministry by organizing Methodist societies. The society in London met in the Foundry, a building once used as an arsenal.
In this place,
Thomas Maxfield, a layman, began preaching at the Foundry. At first, Wesley was opposed to the idea of layman preaching. But Maxfield's preaching was so powerful that Wesley changed his mind, and lay preaching became an important part of the Wesleyan movement.
neither shall they learn
Methodism
war
swept through England on the voices of laymen like Maxfield. Clergy 3 times every day. He was a brilliant organizer, and throughout his travels he trained class leaders of the societies he founded, connecting those who followed him with his own spirit and message. But Methodism was new and different. The Wesleyan revival began in an England near social collapse, and in one generation helped renew the spirit of the nation. At the age of 83, John Wesley insisted he was never tired either with preaching, writing, or traveling. He maintained his love for the Church of England, and the movement he organized did not become an established church in England until after his death. But it was different in America. Methodism in America had carried John Wesley's organization, writing, and spirit into the new frontier. Now that the colonies had won their independence, Wesley's followers in America needed a church and a clergy. In a dramatic move, John Wesley ordained Thomas Coke to be superintendent in America, the first step in founding a new church in the emerging land. He blessed the work of the new church as Coke sailed to meet Francis Asbury in America. And since one can travel in the spirit of love, John Wesley, who once failed in Georgia, went with him.
So that was taken from a feature film. And that happens sometimes. It gets excerpts from a feature film show up in these educational films. There you go. Everything you wanted to know about John Wesley, but we're afraid to ask. Okay. Is it just brown sugar water, or is there something more?
This is the Philippines, our land of beauty, rich in age-old customs, teeming with 20th century progress, richly deserving of the name Pearl of the Orient. In the central plains of Luzon, the granary of the Philippines, rich soil yields bountiful harvests, while in the mountain provinces, ancient ceremonies recall splendors of long ago, and skillful hands still weave colorful designs of wonder and delight. In the south, the home of world-famous Philippine hemp, graceful vintas skim over the waters of the Sulu Sea.
carry treasured food from the ocean's depths to the marketplaces of the land. And in every city, town, and barrio throughout the land, people of all ages work, play, and enjoy moments of pleasant relaxation. Take time out to enjoy the pause that refreshes with Coca-Cola, a refreshing drink of highest quality. Here indeed is a pleasant and delightful beverage, a pure and proved pure refreshing drink of highest quality, a quality that never changes from bottle to bottle, day after month after year. Isn't that delicious? You just know it is. Made in the Philippines, by the people of the Philippines, for the people of the Philippines. Long ago, long before the war, the taste and quality of Coca-Cola won its way into the hearts of everyone and continues today to be an accepted, desired, refreshing custom of people everywhere throughout the land. In fact, throughout the world. On the island of Negros, in Luzon and Panay, many men and women watch over sprawling sunlit fields of sugar cane, the rich product of nature that provides its natural sweetness to the beverage so many people enjoy so much, so often. In the sugar mill, skilled workers guide the most modern machinery to extract and process the naturally rich, sweet juice from the cane. Every batch of juice is tested, carefully tested for quality, sweetness, and purity. In modern sugar mills and refineries, the natural juice of the cane is transformed into the sparkling, pure white crystals of high food value, familiar to all as sugar. Sugar, pure cane sugar, one of nature's most nutritious and quick energy-building foods. And only the purest sugar, grown in the Philippines and refined in the Philippines, adds the natural sweetness to the pure, wholesome beverage known throughout the Republic for its never-changing quality. It is no wonder people in Luzon, the Visayas, and Mindanao, people everywhere say, highest quality. Highest quality because only the purest, most wholesome products of nature go into this delicious beverage. Highest quality. Coca-Cola means just that wherever it is bottled. In Davao, Cagayan, Tacloban, Tagbilaran, Cebu, Bacolod, Iloilo, Naga, Manila, and in other plants to come. In every Coca-Cola bottling plant, cleanliness, modern equipment, and trained people work as a team to produce this delicious beverage. Men start the bottles through the washing machine, where cleansing compounds and purified water, steaming hot, combine to sanitize and make them sparkling clean. From the time the bottles enter the washer until the last step in the bottling process, no human hand touches a single bottle. To be sure, every bottle is spotlessly clean before it is filled. Inspectors keep a watchful eye on them as they move toward the filling machine, where each bottle receives an exact measure of wholesome syrup and just the right amount of pure, sparkling, carbonated water to produce the finished, delicious Coca-Cola. its pure and wholesome flavor sealed in the bottle, safeguarded by modern crown corks. And still another inspection to make sure the delicious flavor is sealed in. And there they go, case after case after case, by truck, by carretella, by banca, by ship, or by sheer determination to take this delicious drink to market. For people at work, for people at home, for people who are just enjoying themselves. Behind these friendly, familiar bottles are many Philippine industries that make it possible for everyone to enjoy this drink of highest quality, anytime, any place. Bottle making, for instance. For without bottles made in a modern plant such as this one in Manila, Coke would not be so readily available throughout the Philippines. The art of glass making reaches back into the ages. It begins with sand. Gleaming sand from the Isle of Palawan to make the bottles which carry this friendly drink to every barrio, town, and city in the Philippines. Clean white sand and other materials melted in fiery furnaces drop into waiting molds, where wondrous machines do magical things to the glowing molten glass. Yes, truly fabulous machines press the liquid glass to form it into the distinctive shape that is known to people everywhere. And here they come, row upon row upon row, by the hundreds, thousands, millions. These bottles are carefully inspected for brilliance, for transparency, for strength. Only the finest bottles for the friendly drink, delicious, refreshing, ice-cold Coca-Cola. In Manila, metal crowns, too, by the millions, are manufactured to rigid specifications. Another partner in industry to seal in the flavor and sparkle of this refreshing carbonated drink in every single bottle. And that calls upon still another industry, the gas for the making of carbonated water, which adds sparkle and life to this delicious beverage. Agriculture, too, has felt the influence of Coca-Cola. Many more people now find employment on plantations that grow sugarcane in the Philippines. Modern motor trucks are needed, as well as ships, vintas, and bancas, to provide necessary transportation to every city, town, and barrio. And to keep Coca-Cola on the move requires gasoline, oil, tires, and many other services. Lumber, too, in the manufacture of cases, the assembly of trucks, and refining of oil, each industry helping the other, helping make the many products necessary for your enjoyment of your favorite beverage. The making of coolers as well is important, because coolers and the making of ice and electricity make sure you'll always enjoy your Coke the best way, ice cold. Many people serve in other ways, too, for your pleasure, in producing striking signs to let you know your friend, that member of the family, Coca-Cola, is always as close as your desire, by day or by night, wherever you may be in the Philippines. Yes, Philippine industry is on the march to make sure your ice-cold Coca-Cola goes with you. An old friend you can always trust for pleasant refreshment at a picnic, in the restful quiet of your home, or happy relaxation after sports. Each and every one likes to be a member of the family. All of us like to belong. People belong to teams, play together, not only for their own enjoyment, but for the joy and pleasure of others as well. Friendly people everywhere gather to watch their favorite players, to thrill at the crack of ball on bat, the expert play of a SEPA team, exciting action of a good tennis match. And whatever sport you enjoy, wherever you are, that other friendly member of the family is always with you, a trusted friend of many years standing, pure, wholesome, delicious, ice-cold Coca-Cola. Old friends are best friends, someone once said. And the familiar greeting to this old friend by men, women, and children all over the land is the welcome phrase of hospitality, "Let's have a Coke." On university and college campus, on the playgrounds of all schools where time for play is the happiest time, you'll always find your old friend, pure and delicious as always, too, because Coca-Cola just naturally belongs. Yes, and in friendly havens of mercy, too, where moments of cheer are always welcome, where friends always add comfort, make things brighter. One of the brightest moments is the pause that refreshes. Fiesta time, joy, happiness for everyone. A time for pledging old friendships anew, or a time to make new ones, and perhaps find romance. Parties at home are always fun too, and with lechon and every other Filipino dish, Coca-Cola belongs, just naturally belongs. For at parties, everyone feels at home, relaxes, enjoys himself, just as these Dama players are doing. Uh-oh. That's a friend for you. Always helps you out. Makes you feel that life is worth living. Yes, that's the way it is all over the Philippines. At sports, in the pleasant atmosphere of your own home, at work, or wherever you are in this beautiful land of ours, this pearl of the Orient, you'll always find that member of the family, Coca-Cola. Always pure, always wholesome, always welcome, always a trusted old friend. Or as someone once said, old friends are best. This, then, is the story of refreshment, of Coca-Cola, a quality product, pure and wholesome. A story of a friendly product, delicious and refreshing. A story of partners in progress with all Philippine industry, providing employment for thousands of people in many industries and contributing to the progress of the country. And in the future, as it always does, Coca-Cola will continue to bring more pleasure, more enjoyment to more people everywhere. And Coca-Cola is everywhere in the Philippines.
Yeah, what a fascinating film that was. Yeah, and it was jam handy, of course. I don't know if you saw the little GM B-roll, some trucks rolling out. So I read a book called God, Country, and Coca-Cola, which kind of traces the history of Coca-Cola and our culture, world culture, not only in the United States, but everywhere. And so a couple of things in that film made me go, interesting. This is a challenge. I don't think this was made for American audiences. It might have been shown to American audiences, but it has a feel, because it's mostly Filipino people in it, that it was made for Filipinos. And why it's not in Tagalog, I don't know their language. But the thing about that, the sugar is from there and it's used for that, for Coca-Cola, is very telling, because Coca-Cola would let distributors and franchise operations operate around the world, but they maintain a very tight control over the formula, and they would sell the formula to all these different bottlers and distributors all around the world. And so they were the ones that were buying the sugar and making the formula, then selling. Then there were big bottles of that stuff going all over the place, and then that would be added with carbonated water and then put in bottles, etc. So the idea that the sugar in the Philippines was being used in the formula for Coca-Cola in the Philippines is very notable, because that means that they had to make concessions with the Filipino government to do that, because Coca-Cola didn't want to do that. They wanted to have tight control over the pricing of the formula and all aspects of that. So that is something that I find, it kind of stuck out in my mind. It's a good book. It's really amazing. And there's all sorts of shady stuff going on in the history of Coca-Cola in other countries, specifically Nazi Germany. And that's why Fanta exists. So research that. Anyways, thought you would dig that. It was incredibly slow, but it was also super Coca-Cola propaganda. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today. It was great seeing everybody. Thank you, Jeremy, for the $2, the 2 pence for the drink. And you're all welcome to donate via the Super Thanks button, via ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are ways that will help us pay for our rental of our storage spaces, of which we have many, and we hope to remedy that in the spring and move everything back into the archive when that's done. But you can also hit the thumbs up, or you can watch other films that we have been posting, and we've been posting a bunch. We're trying to get 10,000 films online before we then have to dedicate our resources to moving films back into the archive. So hopefully by March, we'll have 10,000 films. All right. Thanks, everybody. grab a Coke and a smile, and don't eat over your keyboard. That's what we learned today. Take care.